A deciding game to determine the 2025 USA Softball Men's Major Fast Pitch National Champion. As here we go again. Hill United, the Chiefs, who beat the Northeast Drillers to start today 10-4, then down the Bear Creek Gremlins 7-1 in a game that just ended about 25 minutes ago. This one is for all the marbles, as the Gremlins trying to win their 5th consecutive USA Softball national title in this category. Shane Bolin leads it off in his usual spot. He was 2 for 4 in the first game between these two with a double. In fact, he opened the game with a double off Ben Anoka's glove in center field. He's now 21 of 59 on the year, 4 doubles, 3 home runs, and 9 runs batted in. He's 6 for 16 so far here in Oklahoma City. So these two teams have played twice in this tournament, and 2 very different results, as Jack Besgrove, as we expected, gets the ball in this one. And I'm most certain it will be Marco Diaz for the Hill United Chiefs. The Gremlins won last night 7-0 to give themselves 2 chances today to win the crown. Hill United bounced back and just finished knocking them off 7-1 in the return meeting here, as their great rivalry continues. What might the Hill United Chiefs have left in their 3rd game of the day in this sweltering heat on this Sunday in Oklahoma City? Besgrove, a changeup. Shane Bolin thinks he's got another swing. The home plate umpire just called him out. He's asking, is that on the swing or is that the location? Jeff Ellsworth is going to come in. So's John Hill from first, and they're going to, more than anything, question, but you do not need your shortstop thrown out of the game for questioning balls and strikes. So Besgrove, who only lasted 2 1/3 earlier today, gave up 5 runs, 6 hits, struck out 5, and walked 1. He was splendid with a 1-hit, 7-inning, 10-strikeout performance against the Chiefs yesterday evening. Which Besgrove will we get? Brad Ezekiel has hit the ball hard today on a number of occasions, but still yet to record his first hit. This one lifted high. The sun is very difficult. Panuelos, who starts in this game in right field. Brian Avery was the starting right fielder in the last game. I'd love to tell you exactly about the Bear Creek Gremlin lineup. I don't have it. So I'm just by and large winging it. It helps to have some knowledge of both teams. So 2 away as Ezekiel flies out to right. And Lenny Villavazo, who just put forth one of his great performances, I would say maybe as a Chief. He was 3 for 4, 3 doubles, drove in 2 runs, and made a couple of superb defensive plays at second base. He moved up today in the batting order. He had been batting 5th for the first 3 games, then moved up against the Northeast Drillers. That's how the day started at 8 a.m. Oklahoma time. And Villavazo has taken advantage of the move in the lineup, although he did not have a hit against the Drillers. This one makes solid contact, but Ben Anoka perfectly situated So a good beginning for Besgrove and the Gremlins. A 1-2-3 top of the first. Marco Diaz will be in the circle for the Chiefs when we return in this final of the USA Softball National Championship in the men's major category from Oklahoma City. Marco Diaz with the ball, the ace. He has already worked 7 innings today. A complete game victory in the first game of this Sunday for the Hill United Chiefs in a 10-4 victory over the Northeast Drillers. In that game, Marco gave up 4 runs, 6 hits. He struck out 9 and walked 3. He was the starter one evening ago in the 7-0 setback at the hands of the Gremlins. In that game, he went 2 innings, gave up 3 runs on 5 hits, struck out 6, but walked an uncharacteristic 4 batters. As we try to keep you abreast of this one, Matthew Waugh 0 for 3 in the previous game against the Hill United Chiefs. Hit 2 balls very hard, was unlucky. And Diaz, who did not have to throw a pitch thanks to 5 great innings of relief from Tyler Randerson, in addition to the Hill United Chiefs staff for this tournament only. And Matthew Waugh fouls that straight back. Different catcher for Marco. Such a hot day. Bruno Matroni has caught the first 2 games. Luciano Biondi will start as the catcher in this championship affair. As we are just underway on this hot Sunday in Oklahoma City. And again, I don't know if any athlete is necessarily conditioned to play 3 games in this type of heat and conditions. It will test you. Matthew Waugh fouls that off. The 36-year-old from Saint-Gervais, Quebec. Two for 4 against Hill United in the win last night. Change up over top of his head from Diaz. It is meeting number 4 of the season. And Waugh goes around, and Diaz wastes little time in recording his first strikeout. And I think at this point, and it's always a big story, who will be at their best in this game? Besgrove or Diaz? Will go a long way in deciding the champion of USA Softball in the men's major category. The Gremlins are the reigning 4-time consecutive winners. And they've won it 9 times, I believe, dating back to the year 2012, formerly New York, before their sponsorship change this year, and now they're the Bear Creek Gremlins. Jerome Remeke got off the schneid with a base hit in his last at-bat in the most recent game. Up the middle, Viavazzo, another good play for Lenny. He's having himself a day. He did make an error in the win over the Northeast Drillers this morning. After that, he has been stellar over at second base. That's not an easy play to retire Remeke. And 2 away in the bottom of the first. And here is Ben Anoka. Ben went 3 for 4 last night in the Gremlins win. Doubled and scored the only run earlier today in the 7-1 setback. Officially 1 for 2 in that game. The New Zealand national teamer, Anoka, Tony Gonzalez. And the Chiefs continue to play some fine defense. It was absolutely the case in the first meeting of these two teams today, and it continues in the bottom of the first. 1, 2, 3 go both teams. We'll head to the second in the championship final for the USA Softball National Crown. Bruno Matroni is the designated player to begin this game. Caught the first 2 Hill United Chiefs wins. He's 1 for 11 so far in this event at Oklahoma City. 0 for 3 in the most recent game against the Gremlins. Josh McGovern is the catcher in this game. It is generally Nick Mullins, but again, for these two 39-year-old catchers, it's a lot in the heat. So Mullins gives way to McGovern. Will this be a pitcher's duel between two of the best? In Besgrove, the 21-year-old, and 23-year-old Marco Diaz. Change up from Besgrove. Bruno, I have him now at 18 for 53 on the season. A little more difficult today with the short turnaround to try to update things. There's just not a lot of time in between games. Right back at us. Doink off the window. And back down to Josh McGovern behind home plate. The defense Ochoa at first, Malerzuk, Evans, and Remeke. Panuelos, Beninoka, and Matthew Waugh. So the only change is McGovern in behind home plate for Mullins. They received the Hill United lineup before the game. And when you follow the team almost for every game, it's not completely hard to figure it out. Although until you see it in written form, like even for the Gremlins, not sure if Greg Leather will make some changes as far as his hitting lineup is concerned. I know he's going to insert Abelardo Panuelos. It was Brian Avery in right field in the last game to begin, as Matrone looks at another changeup. Believe the count is full. Matrone's lone hit of the tournament came in the 10-4 victory over the Northeast Drillers. And Matrone gets just a piece. Well, the Hill United Chiefs trying to have the same type of day that they had last August 17th at the ISC World Tournament, where they had to win 3 in a row. Matrone flies out to the speedy Panuelos. Thought that ball might carry a little more when it left the bat. As I look at the flags, it looks like the wind has calmed from what has been the case earlier in the day. That might have been more of a headache for Besgrove and the Gremlins even an hour ago. Very different right now, but the wind gusts. Tony Gonzalez has made the most of his hits on this Sunday. His first one came with the Chiefs trailing 2-0 in the bottom of the first to the Northeast Drillers. And he hit a 3-run homer to give them their first lead. And he cashed in the first in a big way in the first game against the Gremlins today, when he hit a ball, drove it between first and second into right to score 2 runs in a 3-run top of the first in the 7-1 victory earlier. That game ended literally about 25 minutes, maybe 25 minutes before the start of this one. It was a tight turnaround, as Gonzalez had a good cut on the drop ball in from Besgrove. Always special when these two teams get together. They're the number 1 and 2 ranked teams in the ISC World Rankings. Hill United first. The Gremlins are second. And no one would be surprised if they were involved in the big proceedings come Championship Sunday or Saturday at the ISC World Tournament in Mankato. But Besgrove looks more like the Besgrove of one night ago, and he's retired the first 5 that he's faced in this game. Blake Hunter, one big hit in this event, and it was a home run to turn 4-1 into 5-1 in the third inning. He has 2 hits today. I have him at 2 for 13 here, and both his hits have driven in runs. Cashed in a big one against the Northeast Drillers. 10-4 didn't tell the story in that game. It was 5-4 Hill United, and they trailed on 2 different occasions going to the 6th before the Chiefs exploded for 5. No balls and 2 strikes to Blake Hunter, who had a marvelous World Cup for Canada in Prince Albert with a couple home runs and a tournament-leading 11 runs batted in. Amongst the average leaders as well, he was 8 for 14. Gendry Torres of the Dominican Republic, who played here this weekend for JDT First Energy, led the tournament in batting average. He hit .692. Hits at a premium very early in this one. Blake Hunter wanted to change that, and he has a stare down and maybe some words as Besgrove has his second strikeout of this title affair. 0-0 going to the bottom of the second in Oklahoma City on the best place you can find to watch fast pitch softball at a high level. Softball Premier TV. Marco Diaz, a 1-2-3 first inning. Eric Ochoa batting in the number 4 spot. Customary. It doesn't change a lot, but still have to wait when you don't have the card. Eric was 1 for 3 in the 7-1 loss earlier today to Hill United, and he smashes this foul down the third base side. He is 1 for 8 this weekend in the 2 games against Hill United. Drove in the only run in the 7-1 loss earlier today. Hit .364 for his country, the USA, on the road to a bronze medal in Prince Albert at the World Cup, and he's played in a number of them. He was the MVP and the batting champion and home run leader of this very event 1 year ago, Rockford, Michigan. Tournament moved up schedule-wise, as is the ISC World Tournament. I'm guessing both of these events will be back in their regular time slots in 2026. So Eric Ochoa, the batter. Six for 19 with 5 runs batted in here in Oklahoma City. The changeup from Diaz is pulled foul. Marco Diaz and Jack Besgrove had a superb showdown, at least for Marco. Might have been his best game of the year. It came on day 1 of the World Cup. Marco pitching for the United States. He was brilliant in that game. 7 innings, a 1-hit shutout, 10 strikeouts, didn't walk anyone. That was a tough game for Besgrove. Ochoa down the line, but it'll go foul. As Alan Pecker, who's had a special Sunday. He's homered 4 times today. It's official. We'll give it to him. An inside the park home run, and then a blast over the fence after hitting 2 against the Northeast Drillers. So a very similar day to the one that he had on Championship Saturday in Surrey, British Columbia. Will the trend continue? He'll lead things off for Hill United when they bat in the third. They've got other irons in the fire trying to retire Eric Ochoa, who's not going down easily, and he rarely does, the 31-year-old. Three-time All-World player at the ISC World Tournament, first-teamer last year, and mentioned what type of an event he enjoyed in Michigan when this tournament was played in 2024. And he is making Marco Diaz work. It's Diaz's second appearance of the day. Went the full 7 innings in the win against the Northeast Drillers. And it wasn't comfortable. Not until the 7th, when he took to the rubber with a 6-run advantage. Outside of that, it was pressure in a lot of innings. Finally, Ochoa is out. And even though he makes an out there, those are the kind of at-bats that can pay dividends later in the game, especially in this kind of heat. Cole Evans, the batter. Cole was 0 for 4 in the last game, and this one sneaks under Shane Boland's glove. And that might be, for me, the first little look at fatigue and heat. There's Evans, who drove in the first run of the game when these two teams met last night, has his first hit of this Sunday. Just underneath the glove of Shane Boland. This is a hard day, period, to play in. But when you're Hill United and you've been here since 7 a.m. this morning and you're playing this type of competition, it's different. And that's not an excuse. It's just reality. It was not 35 last August in Surrey. I don't remember the exact temperature, but I know it wasn't like this. Lucio Retamar is the batter. And Diaz, the rise ball, out of the zone. That is the pitch that Marco continues to try to master a little bit more. Velocity is as solid as anyone. The drop ball is great, the change-up, and we've seen it at its best at times in this event. If the rise and the command of it jumps up to a different level, then my goodness. He'll arrive at a different level. He's only 23. Already an ISC world champion. Went the distance. All 7 innings in the 7-1 victory over the Gremlins in the championship final in Surrey. So 7-1 has been a good number for Hill United against Bear Creek. Again, it's Lenny Villavazzo. That uniform has been dirty on a number of different occasions. And there are 2 away, courtesy of this solid defensive effort. As Retamar retired. And here is Abiardo Panuelos, who did come in to play defensively and bat in the last game. And he fouls this away. Brett Tamar, by the way, is indeed the designated player in the game. As Panuelos hits with a runner in scoring position. Cole Evans with a base hit. And he's had a very, very solid tournament. I mean, when doesn't he? Panuelos looks like he has opened the scoring. Abelardo Panuelos. An RBI single off of Marco Diaz, and the Bear Creek Gremlins have opened the scoring in this title affair. The youngster, in just his second year with the Gremlins, from Mexico, delivers an RBI base hit. And it's 1-0 as he scores Cole Evans. And now the ball gets away. And Panuelos able to move up 60 feet, and now he's in scoring position. And the batter is Ladislav Malerzuk, the 30-year-old veteran from Argentina. As Diaz misses outside. So the Gremlins taking advantage of a couple of second inning hits. And they should certainly be the fresher bunch. That's the position they put themselves in when they won the winner's bracket final between these two teams yesterday evening. And it is a full double knockout scenario here at the USA Softball Men's Major National Championship. In a lot of cases in tournaments, including the ISC World Tournament, there would be no second chance. And Marco, who has thrown a lot, not just overall, but even as a Hill United Chief the last couple of years, the majority of the time he's pitching to Matroni, not Biondi. Hunter throws offline, and that one is up two. And now Malerzuk is going to be safe. Blake Hunter has made so many great throws from that spot all day. He pulled Gonzalez off, had a chance to get Panuelos at home. And Malerzuk, he went way wide at second, almost in a position where you could challenge it. So the Chiefs, who had been airtight in game number one, hurt themselves with a couple of errors on the same play. And it's 2-0. And again, only speculating, but you can't tell me that fatigue combined with high heat do not creep in. So Malerzuk, his ground ball creates a ton of havoc. So an error on the throw to Hunter, and then an error on the attempt to get Panuelos coming home to Tony Gonzalez. It was the Gremlins who committed a couple of errors that were costly in the first game between the two today. So Josh McGovern's first at-bat of this Sunday, hitting in the number 9 spot. And Marco Diaz trying to limit the damage. He'll be able to here. Casually tosses it to first. And McGovern still had the bat in his hand. A couple of hits, aided by a couple of Chiefs errors, and they trail it 2-0 in the championship true final of the USA Softball National Championship, the men's major division on Softball Premier TV. If anyone can start the road back for the Hill United Chiefs, it's this guy. What kind of day has Alan Pecker had on this Sunday in Oklahoma City? How about 4 for 6 with 4 home runs, one of the inside the park category, and 5 runs batted in? So he has equaled the amount of home runs from last year's championship Saturday, when the Chiefs ran the table to win their 6th ISC World Crown. 2 of those home runs came in the title game off of the gentleman he's facing right now, Jack Besgrove. There's McGovern chatting with the home plate umpire. Both these teams will obviously be heavy favorites at the upcoming ISC World Tournament, which for men's club fast pitch softball is the crown jewel of every year. And it will start in Mankato, Minnesota on Saturday. I know that the Hill United Chiefs will not play on day one, and I don't believe that the Gremlins will either. I know that the Chiefs will square off against the Junkyard Dogs in their first game on Sunday. And Alan Pecker fouls that back. Besgrove looking a lot more like the Besgrove of last evening rather than the 2 1/3 innings he worked in the loss to Hill United earlier today. And it's a big reason that Greg Leather removed him from the game. He knew that his team had another chance. Pitched both Kuba Osichka and Eric Chaparro. Pablo Migliavacca is not here. I don't know if he'll be back. Would guess he probably will be for the ISC World Tournament. Not here. Expanded rosters, though. And Alan Pecker draws a walk and becomes the first base runner of this game for the Hill United Chiefs. Such speed at the bottom of the order with Pecker, White, and then Biondi. There goes Allen, and he had a big jump. Called out for a leadoff last night. And base stealing in this sport, when you have to wait for the ball to be released by the pitcher, is an art form. I never watched anybody do it, and this goes back a ways, any better than Bill Boyer. Longtime USA national teamer. Nick White, he can fly. This is what speed does. And mentioned it just seconds ago. And we await the scoring. And it's going to be an error. It was a similar type situation last night for Nick White, who also had a great bunt, and it was, to me, 50-50. But exactly what Hill United was looking for after giving up 2 in the bottom of the inning. So speed can, as they say, hurt you. So the stolen base after the walk, and then the bunt, and a bit of an errant throw. Nick might have been safe regardless. And now it's Biondi. Who had a big game against the Northeast Drillers with a triple and a home run. And then doubled as well in the first meeting today of these two arch rivals. And that's what they are. Not a lot of love lost. Biondi, Evans, boy, that son is tough, and he had to go back a long way. He was pulled way in, but shows great range on this ball. As when it left the bat, Biondi maybe had hoped that the ball would find some green grass. It did not, and there's one away. Early in the game, but if you're Hill United and you trail by 2, this is an important spot. If nothing else, you'd like 1. So first and third still, but this time 1 out for the dangerous shortstop, 34-year-old Shane Boland. And the captain has delivered again. Nick White gets the wave, the throw home, not in time. Shane Boland is having a weekend and has tied this title game at 2 apiece with a double into the gap in left center. It's 2-2. Shane Boland, longtime Canadian national team member, longtime Hill United chief, captain of the team, and he is certainly helping to lead the way. Got 2 doubles, 2 home runs here, and up to 4 runs batted in Oklahoma City. He's 8 for 18 in the tournament, and he's tied the game in the third. And only 1 out for Brad Ezekiel, who flew out to right field. Ezekiel hits this well, and it is gone! His first hit in Oklahoma City is a line drive, 2-run home run. And you knew it couldn't be much longer of a wait for the great hitter. And it brings everybody out of the Chiefs' dugout as they've turned 2-0 into 4-2. Mr. Clutch, Bradley Ezekiel. A 2-run drive off Besgrove. And it's 4-2 Hill United. In one of, I'm guessing for Bradley, toughest stretches that he's gone through in a while. Oh for 17 in the tournament, I believe, before that massive 2-run blow. His 10th home run of the year for the Chiefs. When the games have mattered most in his career, Ezekiel usually finds a way. And boy, are they excited now in the Chiefs dugout. And why wouldn't they be, to use an old Bob Cole line, if you're familiar with the longtime hockey great announcer. Lenny Villavazzo flew out to center. And Besgrove trying to compose himself. He'd retired the first 6 that he'd faced before walking Alan Pecker. Stolen base and error proves costly on a bunt attempt by Nick White. The 2-run double off the bat of the captain. And then Bradley Ezekiel, the 2-run blast is Villavazzo at a huge cut at that pitch. Shane Boland, a 2-run double, followed up by his longtime buddy. Couple of Newfoundlanders. Remeke, strong throw. And there are 2 away in the third. How quickly things can change and do not go away. A lot more to come. Bruno Matroni flew out to Panuelos in right field. Abiardo. He delivered a big hit in the Gremlins last half inning as they jumped into a 2-0 lead, and short-lived. Walks and errors. Always hurt. Especially against great teams. And these are both great teams. Bruno Matroni able to check his swing. Both teams with a couple of hits. Hill United with a couple of throwing errors on the same play. And then an error in this half inning helped the lead to a 4-2 advantage. McGovern checking as it's an all-Australian battery, pitcher and catcher in this one. But Nick Mullins is their main man behind the plate. Bruno Matroni's the same for Hill United. And in these conditions, Matroni's already caught 2. Mullins just 1. The bases are currently empty for Matroni. Bradley Ezekiel first hit of this entire event is a 2-run homer in this title game. Matrone the other way, and this will work for him. Fights it off. Just his second hit here in Oklahoma City. And that's just good veteran hitting on a tough pitch in on the hands from Besgrove. As he fights it in to right field for a base hit. Tony Gonzalez grounded out to Mallerzuk at second, his first time. Has cashed in 5 runs today, only 2 hits, but both crucial. A 3-run homer in the first game, the 10-4 triumph over the Northeast Drillers to begin the day for Hill United. And then a key 2-run single in the 3-run top of the first in the 7-1 win today versus Bear Creek, the Gremlins. Boy, did that ball move late. From the middle of the plate to inside on Gonzalez. Chiefs up to 4 hits. They only managed 1 in 7 innings against Besgrove last night. Jack almost looked a little tentative. Now, apparently, at the World Cup, he was dealing with some type of injury that may have occurred a couple of weeks prior to that, and they're going to go look. I could absolutely tell when he landed that he was uncomfortable after that last pitch. It seemed very evident to me. Is Besgrove trying to shake it off. In the hockey world, this is not it, but the one that I primarily find myself in, it would be a lower body injury to Besgrove that he's been dealing with. But after a chat from the therapist and the head coach, he's going to stay. And Gonzalez will continue his at-bat. 2 balls and a strike. 4 runs in for the Chiefs in the third. Gonzalez up the middle. He has a base hit. And 2 on now for Blake Hunter. As the Chiefs have batted around against Besgrove. There's a sentence that has not been uttered very often in his outstanding young pitching career. Batted around against Besgrove. He's only 21. Already a ISC World Champion, a Men's World Cup Champion, a U23 World Cup Champion. Wasn't sure he was ever going to lose a big game until the Chiefs beat him last August 17th. They forced him out of the first game. Can they do it again here in this one? Blake Hunter had a good swing on the last pitch. Almost gets away from Besgrove that time. The Chiefs have 4 runs, 5 hits in the inning. took advantage of a walk, a stolen base, and an error early in it before Shane Boland delivered a 2-run double, and that was followed by a 2-run home run off the bat of Bradley Ezekiel. His 10th homer and 23rd and 24th home runs or runs batted in of the Chiefs campaign. And a long way to go on this steamy Sunday in OKC. Outside to Hunter. Blake homered earlier today. A solo shot to right field that turned 4-1 into 5 on the way to 7-1. Hunter able to get the end of his bat on it, as he'll take the sunglasses off and wipe his brow. And another foul away by Blake Hunter. Every pitch feels like it could be a difference maker. That's what makes games between these teams so special. It was even the case in the first game of the day. The Northeast Drillers had a couple of leads against Hill United in that game. And Besgrove absolutely pulled the string to finally retire Hunter. The Hill United Chiefs send 9 to the plate in the third. They score 4 times and lead this championship affair 4-2. The title game of the USA Softball Men's Major National Championship on Softball Premier TV. A massive inning offensively for Hill United. 2-run double to tie the game for Shane Boland. And then Bradley Ezekiel followed him with a line shot over the right center field fence to provide the Chiefs with a 4-2 lead. This one might come down to the very last pitch the way it's going. Marco Diaz now, for the first time in the game, moves into the circle with an advantage. He's given up 2 hits. And the Chiefs, with a couple of costly errors that led directly to the second run. Not the first, but the second run that made it 2-0. Matthew Waugh opens up the third with a solid base hit. His first hit of the day. Matthew, a 7-time All-World performer, at the ISC World Tournament. He was a second-team player in Surrey. He was a first-team USA softball men's major team member in Michigan last year. So he is at first. Jerome Remeke hit him. Oh, my goodness. This could lead to some trouble because there is history here. Remeke broke his forearm last year when he was hit by Marco Diaz. I think this one is going to have a better result, I think. As Marco came in off the forearm again. As Remeke trying to compose himself and shake it off. So he's hit by a pitch. And when you throw 80 plus from 46 feet, that gets on you in a hurry. Athletic therapist and head coach Greg Leather checking. Jerome missed a lot of key softball last summer, and they're going to check it further. And he is staring down and now having words with Diaz. And Remeke is going to leave the game. And he's still jawing. Now, both teams, and listen, there's not a lot of love here to begin with. Make no bones about it. Greg Leather having words with Jeff Ellsworth. Now he's giving it to the whole Hill United dugout. And John Stewart's involved now too. Now Matthew Waz face-to-face with Blake Hunter. They just finished playing together for Canada. And Remeke, they're going to have to deal with him, or this is going to get completely out of hand. Now Schofield wants a piece. This is about to get right off the rails. Zenon Winters, he's a big man. He's been involved in this rivalry for a long time. Well, it's about the only thing that this tournament hasn't had today. And there's a lot of players on both teams who have played together internationally. A lot of them. And it might be the saving grace in this situation. So I don't know if there's going to be any ejections here. Craig Kress, who's the head of USA Softball, along with Warren Jones. I think that's those two gentlemen on the field right now to talk this over. So things getting off the rails after Diaz hit Remeke, and it escalates because of history. If that was any other player, I don't think we're in this position. So all the tournament officials are out. And hopefully, cooler heads will prevail. I can't tell if that's friendly banter involving Matthew Waugh or not. Shane Boland is rarely involved in anything other than that. These guys are great competitors, and these two teams have been going tooth and nail for years. And it's generally one or the other who wins almost all of the major competitions. There have been some exceptions to the rule, but it's been a lot of Hill United and the Gremlins. Certainly at this tournament, it's been almost all Gremlins. And certainly both of them have won their fair share. I think they've won between them 13 ISC World Tournament titles. Hill United, the reigning ISC World Champs. The Gremlins won it the year prior to that. And they're winners of this event, the Gremlins, now the Bear Creek Gremlins, formerly long time as the New York Gremlins, for 4 consecutive years starting in 2021. So we're going to get back to playing. So 2 on, nobody out. Brian Avery's come in to run for Jerome Remeke, and I'm sure Brian, the very versatile 38-year-old from Richmond, BC, will take over at third base. Anoka fouls it away. Ben's had a really fine tournament. Five for 11 when the day began here in Oklahoma City. So if I have it correct, after a base hit in his 2 attempts today, 6 for 13. Right back at Diaz for 1. Boland not in time. So Marco gets a lead runner for the first out. And Anoka hit it hard back at him on this occasion. When you finish at about 38 feet, when you let it go, and that ball coming off the bat, when you're pitching at over 80 miles an hour, you have to have incredible composure and reflexes. So 1 away, and runners now at the corners. And Eric Ochoa is the batter. He grounded out to Tony Gonzalez to begin the second. And again in 2025, in a lot of big games, batters have seemed to have the edge. And 2 of the top occasions that I could point to prior to this weekend would have been a tournament in Mitchell, Ontario, where 6 of the top-ranked teams in the ISC World Rankings gathered, and then even look at the results at the World Cup. This is going to drive in a run. Eric Ochoa felt like Shane Boland came off the bag early, and they're going to protest it. They're going to talk about it. I don't believe there's any form of video review. Generally, in that position, they'll give a little edge to the defender, and they do here as they gather. And it's 4-3 as the ground ball by Ochoa is able to deliver home Matthew Waugh from third base. And Cole Evans takes strike one. And he drills this. Ochoa with a turn, but he'll hold at second. Cole Evans is 2 for 2. And the Gremlins threatening to draw even themselves after giving up a 4 spot in the top of the inning. Lucio Retamar. As Diaz misses down with his first pitch to the 25-year-old product of Paraná, Argentina, who was 3 for 11 for his home country at the World Cup. Off the glove of Diaz, shoveled it over, and Retamar is safe. And the bases, all of a sudden, are loaded. And Panuelos, who has already delivered an RBI single, will bat. Marco did his best off the bobble, then the shovel. Tony Gonzalez caught it with his bare hand, but Retamar, who gets down the line in a hurry, able to beat it out. And I think after all of that, they've given it a hit. So we've had everything in the inning, including a near bench clear after Diaz hit Jerome Remicke. Abelardo Panuelos continues to endear himself to the Gremlins. He played 2 years ago in 2023 with the JB Bombers. On the ground to Boland. He'll go the short way to end the inning. And an eventful one it was. The Gremlins score once. It's 4-3. Well, nobody will tell you that it isn't entertaining. Back with more on Softball Premier TV. So Jack Besgrove gives way for the second time on this Sunday in a meeting with the Hill United Chiefs to Kuba or Jakub Osiczka, the 22-year-old from Czechia. He pitched 2 innings in relief of Besgrove, who lasted 2 1/3 earlier. He gives up 4 runs on 5 hits. In this game, does Jack Besgrove, who was uncomfortable, to say the least, by the end of the inning, physically. Like he hurt himself on a pitch when he planted and threw it. So a wild affair to determine the USA Softball Men's Major National Championship, which is now its proper name. And Alan Pecker, who walked his first time in the last inning and scored the first of 4 runs, is the batter. Allen already with 4 homers today. 2 for 3 with 2 home runs against the Northeast Drillers. And then 2 more home runs, including an inside the Parker against the Gremlins in the 7-1 game that set the table for this feast. Osicka in a tough spot, but he's capable. We saw 3 different Gremlins pitchers earlier today. Only Marco Diaz so far for Hill United on this blistering hot Sunday in Oklahoma City. Osicka, who fired it over there. You don't see a lot of pitchers throw overhand like that, even when the ball's in play, and he almost whipped it wide of first. He threw that as hard overhand as he does underhand to home plate to get Alan Pecker, who's been almost impossible today to get out, but they did this time. And one away in the 4th is Nick White, who laid down a bunt his last time up. It was called an error. It was right on the borderline of being a hit. He's at home plate. And anytime Nick puts it in play, especially if it goes between pitcher and third baseman. And tried to drag down a bunt that time. Nick seeing a lot more playing time with the unfortunate injury to star left fielder and Canadian national team member Quentin Bruce, who's out for the year with an ankle injury. And Nick White unhappy as he goes down looking. And Kuba Osicka as his first strikeout of this game. He had 3 of them in 2 innings against Hill United earlier today. Luciano Biondi off literally the knob end of the bat, but it rolled foul. Josh McGovern behind home plate for now. Wouldn't be shocked to see Nick Mullins, maybe, before the end of the game. The way this day has gone, I wouldn't be surprised at anything I might witness. There was really a point today in the Chiefs' first game. They'd struggled to hit the ball all weekend where it looked like they might have been on a plane very early today. That game was back and forth against the Drillers. And then they got hot late. And have remained pretty warm ever since. 10-4 in that game that was 5-4 in favor of Hill United heading to the bottom of the 6th. And the great start in game 1. A bounding ball over the head of Ladislav Malerzuk. And Biondi has another hit on this Sunday. And the way he runs, with a couple out, I wonder if Jeff Ellsworth thinks about starting him. There he goes. Boland made quality contact, but right at Ben Anoka in center. So runner on the move, well hit ball, but right at Anoka. It remains 4-3 in this title affair in OKC as we head to the bottom of the fourth. (4-3) in favor of Hill United as the Gremlins cut into the Chiefs' advantage with one in the third. Now they bat in inning number 4. This is the 93rd edition of this event, now called the USA Softball Men's Major Fast Pitch National Championship. It was called the ASAs for a long time, not anymore. And in fact, they're quite unhappy with you if you utter that phrase. The Gremlins have won this event the last 4 years. There actually was a tournament in 2020. It was won by the Kegel Black Knights. That was in the COVID year. I'm trying to quickly go through all of it. And a strikeout of Ladislav Malerzuk. Marco Diaz with just his second strikeout of the afternoon. The Hill United Chiefs last won this event in 2019 in St. Joseph, Missouri. And who did they beat in the final? The Gremlins. Bruno Matroni was the MVP that year. The home run leader was Brad Ezekiel, and the top pitcher was the legendary Adam Folkert. Outside of that, Gremlins, a lot of Gremlins. With Hill United mixed in, I don't even think Hill United participated in the COVID year. Marco Diaz is participating, and he just struck out his second straight batter to open the bottom of the fourth. And this would be a wonderful time for him to get into a groove. Have been known for years as the New York Gremlins. They are now the Bear Creek Gremlins, as their ownership changed hands in the offseason. This ball towards the gap, and how about that diving catch by the speedster Nick White? Sensational diving catch by the 21-year-old from Truro, Nova Scotia, who absolutely lays out. Wonderful play to end the fourth, and it remains 4-3 in the title game of the 2025 USA Softball Men's Major National Championship. Sensational diving catch by Nick White to rob Matthew Waugh of his second hit. Left fielder robs left fielder, and the game remains 4-3. The Gremlins trying to win this title for the 5th straight time and 10th time, I believe, since the year 2012. To Hopper for Cole Evans to get Brad Ezekiel, who homered his last time, and it's the difference right now in the game. His 2-run shot made it 4-2. In a 4-run Hill United third inning. We're in the 5th now. And Lenny Viavazzo facing Kuba Osichka. He's just 22. From Czechia, formerly known as the Czech Republic. Viavazzo fights it off. Boy, that was an interesting look from Eric Ochoa down at first. He obviously could tell off the spin that it wasn't worth worrying about, or potentially his time to try to track it. That was kind of an interesting reaction to that ball off the bat of Viavazzo. Lenny's 0 for 2 in this game after doubling 3 times and driving in a couple of runs in the previous encounter. He goes down to Osichka, who's come on and done a nice job in place of the starter and ace, Jack Besgrove, who gave up all 4 of the runs on 5 Hill United hits and an error committed by the Gremlins in the 4th. The 2 away now for Bruno Matroni, who had a base hit. Goes through the legs. Matroni had to hustle. I don't think he was quite at the same pace before it went through the legs, and that allows the play to be made. So right through the wickets. Did go off the glove, and there's a great play from Ladislav Malerzuk to end the 5th. 1-2-3 go the Chiefs in inning 5. They'd like more of the same themselves in the bottom of the inning. In the final game of this USA Softball Major Men's National Championship on Softball Premier TV. Just upon further review, because everybody seems to weigh in on these situations, Hill United did win the title in 2019. The Gremlins did finish second. Does not say necessarily in the notes that apparently there was rain on that day. But Hill was given credit for the championship, whether the final was played or not. At least that's what the record book says. And sometimes people could be a little kinder in their messaging. I'll just leave it at that. Brian Avery, the batter, and Marco Diaz. Walks him. Avery in place of the injured. Jerome Remicke, who was hit by a pitch in the forearm earlier in the game. So the tying run is on base. Beninoka has had another strong tournament. 0 for 2 so far in this game. Slashes it. Alan Pecker, a couple of steps. And records the out. We're going to run for Brian Avery, and this guy can flat out scoot. Tane Mumu, a New Zealand national team member. And he's in that same Nick White, Alan Pecker type speed category. Tyler Randerson, who gave the Hill United Chiefs an ad for this tournament. Choa wallops one. And it goes through Nick White, and it's going to tie the game. Very hard hit, and scoots as Nick White took a bit of a peek up to see where the runners were. And it went right through him. And it's tied this title game at 4. And Cole Evans, 2 for 2 already, is the batter. Evans, Ezekiel, reads it and relays it quickly. Two out in a tie game in this title matchup.
Number 21, Lucio Retamar.
And Lucio Retamar, who was singled in the game. Score is 4-4. The hits are 6-5 in favor of Hill United. And a strike to Lucio. And Diaz comes up and in as the rise ball gets away from him. Retamar with a big swing. And again, the reaction is he knew that he had a good pitch to handle. Boland and Ochoa having quite a conversation down there. And both guys, to their credit, when things almost got out of hand between the two teams earlier, were somewhat the peacemakers. Retamar, a base hit. Alan Pecker cannot come up with it cleanly, and oh no, Eric Ochoa is going to score, but he hurt himself. So a huge base hit by Lucio Retamar has provided the Gremlins. They're back in front. It's 5-4 as we go back and forth in this championship affair. Blake Hunter reaching and hauls it in and delivers to get Abiardo Panuelos, who's had a fine weekend for the Gremlins. 2 runs for the Bear Creek Gremlins in the 5th, and it's 5-4. They lead the Hill United Chiefs in the championship affair of the USA Softball men's major national championship. So the Chiefs, in their third game of the day on this steamy Sunday in Oklahoma City, find themselves behind. They trailed 2-0, scored 4 runs in the third. The Gremlins drew to within 1 and then just took the lead on 2 runs in the bottom of the 5th. Jacob Osichka has done a very nice job in relief of Jack Besgrove. And he's able to find a strike on Tony Gonzalez, who does have a hit in the game. It came in the third. Part of that 9-batter inning and the 4 Chiefs runs. But now looking to muster some offense. And Osichka records another strikeout, and there's 1 away.
Number 3, Blake Hunter.
Blake Hunter has struck out twice in the game. Both of those at-bats came against Jack Besgrove. And Hunter, a mighty cut to foul that back. Ball and 2 strikes to the 38-year-old from Nanaimo, British Columbia. Evans ranging. And there are 2 away. Osichka all of a sudden has retired 6 straight Chiefs batters. He got Alan Pecker to ground out. It was the first batter he faced when he came into the game in the 4th. 5-4 as the Gremlins trying to win this title for a 5th straight time. turned on it, the inside pitch from Osichka. He pitched very well at a World Cup qualifying event in Mexico last June, where the temperatures were, if you think today's hot, today would be cool in comparison to what happened at that event. Alan Pecker, this will be a tester. And well done by Abelardo Panuelos, who's moved to third from his regular spot in the outfield. And just like that, the Gremlins all of a sudden find themselves 3 outs away from winning another USA National softball crown. Ladislav Malerzuk is the batter, the 30-year-old Argentine second baseman. Marco Diaz has gone the distance in his second game of the day. He threw 7 innings earlier in a 10-4 victory over the Northeast Drillers. That's how the day started for Hill United. Then they downed Bear Creek, the Gremlins, 7-1. Diaz throws it away. And Malerzuk's going to get to third on the throwing error. And errors have been a big part of this game. And I mentioned what fatigue, the conditions, and playing 3 games in a row in it can do. And I think we've seen some of that in the game for Hill United. And that is to take nothing away from the Gremlins. Absolutely zero. They are a superb softball team and prove that year in and year out. And they'd love an insurance run with a 1-run lead and nobody out. And Malerzuk at third base. Josh McGovern is the batter. Infield way in, and he punches it by them. Josh McGovern with a huge hit here in the bottom of the 6th. And it's 6-4 for the Gremlins. And Cody Gibbons, who has been added to the roster for this tournament, is the pinch runner. At first base. And still no one out. So what looked to be a first out scenario, Marco Diaz, maybe not the greatest grip on the ball, and threw it away, and it turned into a 3-base error. Back at him, he'll go to second for 1. There's no opportunity with how Matthew Waugh runs the bases. But a first out in the 6th is Gibbons, who came in to pinch run, is forced out at second. And Matthew reaches on a fielder's choice. Brian Avery, who came into the game when Jerome Remicke was hurt. And there's a bit of a grip problem, too. And Biondi looking down at his hand. He wanted to release that in a hurry, and Matthew Waugh with a stolen base. Diaz, look back Matthew Waugh, and takes a hit away from Brian Avery. Ball got back to him in a hurry, a little peek, and throws over for out number 2. And here is Ben Anoka. Ben's 0 for 3 in this game. He was 3 for 4 when the Gremlins downed Hill United last night in the winners bracket final that gave the Gremlins 2 opportunities today to retain their USA national crown. We're trying to do it for the 10th time. Marco Diaz has given up 8 hits, but an issue in this one has been some errors from him and in behind him. The Chiefs started the day knowing that they would have to win 3 in a row, including 2 victories over this Gremlins group. They're arch rivals, and that has become even more evident on this Sunday in a lot of different ways, I might add. Diaz up and in to get Anoka, but a very important insurance run scored by the Bear Creek Gremlins, and they'll look to close it out and win this championship for a 5th straight time, going back to 2021 when the run for the Gremlins began. On Softball Premier TV. So the Hill United Chiefs have 1 rally left in them. They trail 6-4. They did lead at one point, 4-2. Nick White is going to be safe. And the tying run, that is Nick's first official hit, I believe, of this competition, comes at a key time. He leads off the 7th, trailing by 2 with a bunt base hit, and shows off his greatest asset, his speed. Luciano Biondi is he's certainly in the same neighborhood. And he has good bat control. Six to 4. Chiefs set this one up, beating the Gremlins 7-1 earlier. Now Biondi tries to drag his way on with a bunt base hit too. Well, it's been a memorable one, let's just say that, in so many different ways. Many expected these two teams to square off for the title when the 14-team event began on Thursday. And they're down to potentially the last inning. And Osichka with a big strikeout to get Biondi. Well, if you're Greg Leather and the coaching staff, a lot like how Hill United's coaching staff would have felt about the 5 relief innings they received in the first meeting today from Tyler Randerson. Just to add some more twists to this Sunday here in OKC. And it looks like McGovern's glove has broken and maybe requires some repair. So Shane Boland, who's hit the ball hard, he's doubled in 2 of the 4 Hill United runs. And McGovern looks like he's going to potentially receive a different glove. And that's the case while maybe his is worked on. So 1 out. Here in the 7th. And Boland with a big rip at it. He has homered twice in this tournament. Nick White, the speedster, at first after the bunt base hit to begin this half inning. And Osichka delivers another strike. He has really performed admirably after taking over from Jack Besgrove, the ace, after he yielded 4 runs in a 9-batter Chiefs 3rd inning. And Osichka with a strikeout of Shane Boland. And Brad Ezekiel, who has 1 hit in this game. It was a 2-run homer in that 4-run 3rd inning. Does he have another one in his bag of tricks? McGovern held it, framed it, and Osichka asking where the pitch was. 1-1, 2 out. Ezekiel represents the tying run at home plate. And now down to a final strike. Even though it has been a difficult weekend for number 11 by his standards, I'm not sure there could be a better player up in this situation. certainly for Hill United. Rips it, but right at Cole Evans. And the Gremlins have done it again. They win their 5th straight USA Softball Men's Major Fast Pitch National Championship. And a 10th, I believe, overall. But 5th in a row. They needed both games to get the job done, and can't say enough good things about the fight of the Hill United Chiefs. Bradley Ezekiel scorched that ball. Hit it right at Cole Evans. We'll take a break and be back with some closing presentations. The Bear Creek Gremlins are the champions again of the USA Softball National Major Men's title. You're watching on Softball Premier TV. Well, what a run that the now newly named Bear Creek Gremlins, longtime New York Gremlins, and this is a tournament that matters a lot to them. And Greg Leather and his staff continue to put forth a great team. Shane Boland. And there's some major awards being given up. As Cole Evans, both shortstop recognized for their efforts here. Well, this has certainly set the stage for the upcoming ISC World Tournament. Ben Anoka, been such a terrific player for so long. Yusuf Davis, as we go through, I would imagine this would be first team and second team all-stars. Great event put on here. And this one thing I'll take away is just how terrific this facility is. It's as good as it gets in the sport. Some great games. Today was just a fantastic championship Sunday. The Chiefs almost able to do what they did on the final Saturday of the ISC World Tournament when they won 3 games in a row to capture their 6th title, beating the Bear Creek Gremlins 7-1 in that title game. They lost 7-0 to the Gremlins in the first of 3 meetings here this weekend. Then downed the Gremlins 7-1 after fighting off a very good, I really like that Northeast Drillers team. They're very talented, dangerous. They'll be a tough out in Mankato. As the individual honors continue, Marco Diaz, Jack Besgrove, and I would say for both gentlemen, with the exception of Jack Besgrove's incredible performance last night against Hill United, they have pitched a lot. And a lot of high leverage, high pressure games. And not just today. Remember, so many of these individuals left the World Cup of men's softball just a week ago. And when I think about this sport at the highest level in the men's game, 2 events obviously are absolutely of a premium, and this one would be right there next in line. And that would be the World Cup, country versus country, which happens every 3 or 4 years. It will be 4 years till the next Men's World Cup, as Venezuela will hold that crown for the next 4 years. Trying to listen in on some of the announcements. Justin Schofield. As the silver medals are being awarded to Hill United. And I think regardless of today's outcome, this will be a huge confidence builder for them going into the main event. The ISC World Tournament starts next Saturday in Mankato, Minnesota. And these teams will be on separate sides of the 32-team tournament. And don't be surprised if they play off against one another come championship Saturday, a week from next Saturday, as that tournament will come to a conclusion on the 2nd of August. And the other thing to note on this Hill United broadcast, in part, is the fact that they are without two huge players. Nick Shales was unavailable for this weekend, and they've lost Quentin Bruce for the rest of the season. And they are massive components of this team. But it was a tough loss for them. There was no doubt about it what happened here last night in the 7-0 setback at the hands of the Gremlins. And they just flat out responded with a great Sunday. Didn't quite have enough. As Shane Boland receives the runner-up trophy. Bear Creek winners for a 5th consecutive time at this event, and 10th, I believe, now overall. They've been on some run at this event. They have owned it for the most part. And have to give a boatload of credit to Jakub or Kuba Osichka, who just gave them a marvelous four innings in relief for Osichka. As we go through, and there's Osichka receiving his gold medal. What a nice addition he's been to the Gremlins the last couple of years. He's just 22. I don't believe he'll turn 23, the pride of Czechia, until October. Cody Gibbons added for the weekend. Ben Anoka already with some individual accolades here. Be always interesting. I wasn't able to completely hear all the announcements in order to deliver the first and the second team All-Stars. But a lot of familiar names again. So 6-4, a true double knockout format here, which is not the case in a lot of tournaments. It's not the case even at the ISC World Tournament, where it comes down to, even if you are unbeaten to get to the title game, that's where it either ends or you're crowned champion. As Hill United was in 2024, and the Gremlins were previous to that. So a special thank you to everyone involved for putting on this fine event. For Jim Flanagan, who does such a marvelous job, who called a lot of the games this weekend, my name is Peter Lubardius, and I can't do it. I love these two people. Luciano Lafrano, his wife Carol Dureste, they've just helped elevate this sport to a completely different level. The travel schedule it's not even human in certain cases, but we love them, and they've done so much for the game, and they'll, along with myself, Blair Setford, and Joe Todd, will bring you the action starting on Saturday from the ISC World Tournament. Till then, congratulations to the Bear Creek Gremlins. They are once again champions of the USA Softball Men's Major National Championship. So long from Oklahoma City.